Yeah, it's a word from the dialect from the region here called Hardanger. And it means lovable and honest. Yes, absolutely. I was a little bit, when I found the word, I found it was very much reflecting the philosophy of the bean to bar and how we like to work and the transparency in the chocolate. I came to Norway 16 years ago, and it was like a coincidence in a way, because I came with my ex that got offered a job for a summer season. So at the beginning, it was just like one-time experience. And then we came back every summer because we thought it was nice and there was a way of discovering the country. And after some years coming back for the summer season, then we decided to just try to move here because it was a little bit too much going back to Spain every year. And I've been working as a photographer until last year, basically. So the last years I was combining the chocolate with the photography. And it's only now last year where I really left the photography, and I am more than 100% with chocolate finally. Yes, yes, it's me taking the pictures for the products, the Instagram, and yeah, everything. Yeah. Well, actually not.
Okay.
We were two people until, we have not been really talking about it, but since January this year, it's only me this year. And now we had decided that we were like going different ways. So we are friends, but we decided in a way that I will carry on the project that was in a way my baby from the beginning. And yes, it requires quite a lot of energy. So yeah. Yes, yeah, that was very, that was like a very, how you say, early decision. Of course, the first chocolate I ever tried to make was actually with cocoa beans from Madagascar, but it was really from the beginning where we kind of build up this Nordic identity. And from the very beginning, we started to try flavors from the Norwegian nature and tradition with the cacao. So one of our most popular bars, and this is the one we are known for, is actually a brown cheese bar. The brown cheese is a cheese that is only made in Norway. It's made in a way that in the old time, they used to cook the milk for a very long time until we will caramelize. And it was for preservation reasons. They probably didn't have other methods. It's very cold, very humid. So it's not so easy to just make cheese and put it in a storage to dry. So I guess probably this is why they found other methods of making cheese. So there's one, basically they cook the milk until it gets brown and caramelized, and then they make a cheese with it. So that's one of the most famous cheeses in Norway. And I had the idea of putting it into chocolate because I thought that was the most emblematic food from Norway. So if I manage to put it into chocolate, that will be the perfect representation of the country. And it did work. It's a combination between chocolate and the saltiness of the cheese, because of course it has a little bit of salt, but at the same time, since the milk has been caramelized, it's also a little bit sweet. So it's, yeah, it is quite a nice flavor, the mix of the caramel and the salt together with the chocolate. Exactly the first one, but one of the first we made is our bestseller. The very first Norwegian flavor that we made was actually the reindeer moss or lichen, which is a plant that grows on the mountains in Norway and is the one that the reindeer eats when they need food. It's a kind of silvery plant that is very like high like this, just like 10 centimeters maybe. And so we made a bar with this and lingonberry, which is also a berry that only grows in the Nordic countries. So the idea of this bar was to represent what is the mountain in Norway, because when you take a walk on the mountains, you see those plants when you walk. So the bar was representing the Norwegian mountains. That was the very first Nordic flavor that we made. Since 2018, that was the first time we participated in the awards. We have been receiving 94 awards for many of our bars. In the last years, we've been also getting awards for some bonbons and drinking chocolate and other products, because lately we started to make other products from the bean to bar, like bonbons and chocolate spread and things like that. So yeah, 94 hours in total. Oh. Yes, until now we haven't had the opportunity to travel to the origin, because the first trip was planned in 2019 and then COVID arrived. So yeah, that was very bad. So we never got to do that trip. So hopefully soon I can finally go to origin. But yeah, what we do is like, sometimes I have direct contact with the origin, like in the case of Åkesson, where I buy the cacao directly from him. Or we have one partner that we trust because they have direct contact with the agricultors, the cocoa producers. And yeah, it's because we know it's only one step between the cocoa farmers and us. We really trust our distributor. Right now, I think we have 7 or 8 origins. We have very much some Africans. I don't know why, but for some reason, I always come back to Africa and my cocoa beans. But we've been working with Brazil cocoa beans from Åkesson, Madagascar, Tanzania, Uganda. We also have cocoa beans from the Dominican Republic, Haiti, Guatemala, and Belize. So yeah, that makes like around 9 different origins we have right now. Not right now, Facenda Sempre Firme from Åkesson, and it was really nice. Unfortunately, for some time, we haven't got those cocoa beans, but we still have the packaging. And actually, I would really like to work more with Brazilian cocoa beans, because I think it's a lot of really interesting flavors in Brazil. Where where can you find it, you mean? We sell it in a lot of shops. Yes, we have a website ourselves, like an online shop, but unfortunately now I close it for the foreign countries, which is going to open again soon, because it's a little bit difficult to manage all the custom prices and everything. So I need to focus a little bit more on that. But we sell in the US, Bar and Cocoa is like a kind of big online shop dedicated to bean to bar chocolate, and they have our bars. We have also like, yeah, a little bit like in the UK, Cocoa Runners, for example, they also ship internationally. And we have a lot of shops, but it's more like localized. So for example, from Brazil, the best will be to buy from Bar and Cocoa or one of those that ship internationally, like Cocoa Runners as well. We started in January this year to work with Japan, so that's very exciting. It's going very well so far, and it's the volume is increasing little by little. So it was a good, how you say, a good feedback and a good reception from the Japanese market. So it's going to be exciting to see next year how much it grows. Yes. Actually, I don't really put it directly into my chocolate, because I will not make like flavors coming from there. I focus more on where I am right now, but I think the heritage that I have from the food is coming from my grandparents, because I remember when I was a child, I will go to visit them. They had a farm in the Basque Country, and they used to have like land with tomatoes, peppers, like really big land, and they used to make everything. They used to preserve tomato sauce, they used to preserve peppers. And I remember when I was a kid being in the kitchen making food with them. So I think in a way this has been what made me be so interested into food from a very early age, because I really like to go deep into the process of making food from scratch. So yes, so I think that is my reflection into chocolate in a way, more than to put the ingredients into the chocolate, where the passion of making things comes from. I think what is different in a way is the flavors, is to mix some flavors that are really unique in Norway and to translate it into chocolate. And I think this is what is a really strong DNA, like you say, or identity, is to transform the seriousness of the cacao into a little bit of more playful flavors that are really much from the culture where we are. I absolutely think that is the identity of Fjäk, to play with the flavors of the cacao and translate it into the Norwegian culture. Since cacao doesn't come from Norway, obviously, is to put that identity into the cacao as well. So the first time I wanted actually to have a project related to food. And the first project that I wanted to do was gin. I wanted to make gin. So I developed with my boyfriend a brand. I found the botanic, everything to make gin, but in Norway, the law is really strict. So it was impossible. And then it's when I had to start anyway, in a way, like to find something else, because it was not possible to make that gin. And then I found a video about the Mas brothers. I don't know if you heard about them. Yes, so I saw that video of those two brothers making chocolate in Brooklyn. It was very cool. And that was a little bit the opening. And then I saw the video and I was fascinated. And then I started to research more and more and more. So I kind of researched videos on internet and information about how the chocolate was made, because that was my first opening to the world of chocolate making. And then I found a video about the guy, I don't remember the name. I think it was Matt Green, the guy that was running Grenada Chocolate Company. He was very fascinated about bean to bar. He died actually making chocolate in his factory. So I saw a video about him, and then yeah, it was just like one video after the other. And then is when I decided, okay, I have to try this. I really have to buy some cocoa beans, and I bought a little grinder. And then I took it home and started to make chocolate. So yeah, I can say that the Mas brothers were the first kind of connection that I had with craft chocolate, because at the time they were the ones being really publicly showing what was bean to bar, right? Actually, I think they do, but I don't know if they sold the company. So I know last time I went to the US, I saw it in the airport, but I don't think there are all the shops they had, for example, in London and so they are closed. So I don't know how big they are right now or how good they are, but yeah, I think so, yes. I think a lot of people has been influenced by them, even though many will not like to recognize it, because it was like a kind of a campaign against the Mas brothers, because yeah, they did something wrong, and the people many don't want to say that they are influenced by them, but I think they were at some point They were the ones using a lot of money on marketing and showing to the world what was bean to bar. If it was not for them, we will be at the same point maybe, but maybe not so fast. So yes, I can understand why Dick Taylor will say also that yeah, they were influenced also by them because they were using a lot of money on making the people aware about the process. Yes, I think this happened, as far as I know, because I've been reading a little bit about the problem there. I think this happened one time. So it didn't happen continuously, but they did at some point use couverture while they were claiming to make bean to bar. And then, of course, everybody was against them very fast. I think in a way, of course, it was wrong. They said it publicly. They say, sorry, it happened once. This is what I read about. But I think there is also a lot of jealousy. And a lot of people were very happy that things went wrong for them. So I think it was a little bit of a campaign, a little bit too strong, hardly strong against them, more than what they did. Because if someone says sorry, and they actually continue to make chocolate from the cocoa bean, there is no reason why they will be put down so much, so badly, right? Last year, in 2020, we made 3.5 tons. So around 55,000 bars. And this year we have been already passing 60,000 in September. So we are going probably to reach, because now we also have much more products apart of the bar. So I can imagine that we are going to reach around 5 tons this year. But with the machinery we have, we are running full capacity. So we are planning now on changing the production line for one that is bigger. And by next year, then we can make 10 times more chocolate, hopefully. Yeah, will be very big. So that's a little bit exciting. For us, it was exactly the same like Dick Tyler. It was much like when COVID started, we were a little bit worried the first month because we thought, oh my God, it's going to be a disaster. But then suddenly what happened is that actually people started to consume more local food and like support the local businesses. So actually we sold double of what we had sold the year before. So actually COVID was really good for us. And also when Christmas came, the same, all the companies wanted to actually buy a gift for their employees. And they wanted, of course, to buy more things because they wanted to compensate the bad year with COVID. And plus they wanted, of course, chocolate made in Norway. And we are almost the only ones that are making chocolate from the cocoa bean in Norway. So yes, it was definitely really good. Actually, our biggest country, our biggest market is Norway, definitely, but the international side is growing. Last year we had only 8% of international sales. And I think this year we will reach almost maybe 20%. So I can see that it's growing. And we also started to sell in China. Of course, China requires a little bit of bigger volumes than Europe. I can see that the first order for China was a pallet, like was 4,000 bars. And orders for other places here in Europe are much smaller. So I think this is going to make a little higher percentage. No, actually not. What we did is we sent samples, and then our distributor, he was trying the different flavors because he knows obviously the Chinese market. So it was, for example, a flavor that he absolutely didn't want to buy, and it's licorice. because licorice is not a flavor that Chinese people like, apparently. So that was the only one. He said, no, I will not take this bar. Licorice is really popular in the Nordic countries. When it comes to, for example, cocoa beans, I have a challenge in Norway because I find myself that I cannot play so much into the many different cocoa beans because the market is not ready for the bean to bar. It's a very little market. So what I find is that in order to communicate about bean to bar and cacao, I need to find cocoa beans that has very different flavor profiles between each other, so people can really understand. I see, for example, there is some chocolate producers that goes very deep into small details, into flavor. For example, Luisa Abraham in Brazil, she's amazing finding wild cacao, and it is so beautiful to discover. I like very much to try everything from her, for example, but I will never be able to do so much detailed research on cacao here because people will never understand. So I try to find that. I try to find origins that has a range of very different profiles, so I can really explain to people what is. And it's like starting from the beginning with someone that doesn't know anything about cacao. So I will choose, for example, a Madagascar, which is acidic and really characteristic, and then I will compare it with chocolate maybe from Uganda that has actually absolutely no fruitiness, and then I can put them together and people will really see the difference between them. Meaning the cacao?
In the cacao, yes.
Yes, absolutely. I see there is more and more really good cocoa beans. I mean, I don't have many years of experience, but since I am in the market, there is much more offer of really good cocoa than what it was when I started in 2015. And there is, of course, the known cocoa beans, which can be names like Okeson, for example. He has been there and he has a name, but there is a lot of small producers that comes with really good. I think it has been a lot of improvement in the fermentation side because, of course, when the market of bean to bar is growing in the world, there is more demand for good cocoa. So, of course, it's also has been also a lot of work with some chocolate makers and also cocoa bean distributors of working with the plantations and the producers of cocoa to work for a better quality. And you can really see that there is more and more, which is amazing. It's really beautiful to see how from a production of industrial cacao, that was the one that only existed before, now more and more cocoa producer can maybe focus on making better products. Right now I have, we are 5 people right now here in the factory, and we are going to open a shop on Monday. So it's going to be a chocolate shop and a cafe, hot chocolates, and also what we want to really develop is this idea of single origin into the drinking chocolate. So people can come and they can try drinking chocolate from Madagascar, or one from Brazil, or one from another country. So yeah, it's going to be very exciting to work with that project. Yes, completely. We are going to do as well. We are collaborating with a coffee roaster that is going to be providing like very good quality coffee. And we are going to combine both because I think it's people understand better what has been done in the specialty coffee industry. So I like to kind of combine both. So when people come, they understand also what we do with the chocolate. We're collaborating with a roaster called Yaku, which is from Norway, and they are really good at roasting coffee. In Scandinavia, coffee is really big. I haven't had the pleasure to meet him. Now we're starting with this. Yaku is a little bit of a smaller place, but they make really, really good coffee as well. Yes. Yeah, it's going to be, for now, it's going to be Fjäk. I think for now, we are going to call it like this because then people can really recognize the brand for the bar. So we thought, okay, this is our own project. So for now we call it Fjäk, and in the future maybe we want to have other concepts. It could be maybe an ice cream shop based on chocolate flavors, but maybe then we can call it another thing, and yeah, we will see in the future. Yeah, so it's not very big. It's a little small place. So everything is going to be produced here on our factory. So yeah, it's going to be a little bit of logistic to make things and then bring them to the shop. I think the advice that I like to give always is to be true to yourself and try to find your own identity, because I have the feeling like, of course, it is a trend now to make bean to bar, and a lot of people are starting to make chocolate, but it's not point to make everything like the others are doing already. Try to find your own identity and make something special that people will enjoy, because at the end what you want is, of course, there is a full philosophy behind, but you want to give an experience to people that eat the chocolate. To find that way of communicating with the chocolate, I think, is the best.